Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We have the Pocket Change Market Report for November 2nd, 2022. And no, that is not a typo. I was meaning to get this off on Wednesday, and a lot of the data pulled from the report, or for the report, goes all the way up to November 2nd. But I did add a few of them that sold here on November 3rd, which is a Thursday. So better late than never. But you are going to go ahead and check things out here to make sure that you're looking for the right stuff, because the coin market, especially these so-called minor varieties and errors, are still making an impact. People are looking to buy up some of these, whether they're collecting at a specific niche, or simply just moving the coins so that way they could make more money. I mean, there is that possibility too. So there's a couple things going on here that's really driving the market. Of course, we're in we're in full fall mode here. Folks are wrapping up their coins, they're getting ready for the holidays, they're sending them to the bank, injecting pretty much just new untouched material by folks that don't even go through their change. So that's one way of doing it. Another is simply going to the bank and asking for the rolls physically. They call it coin roll hunting. It's been around for ages. And folks have made a pretty gosh darn good living going through these bank rolls, whether they're looking for silver or they're hunting out some of these varieties and errors that you're going to see on the report today. It has certainly made a huge impact putting new pieces into collections that otherwise they'd have to spend a boatload of money to own. And furthermore, again, like I had mentioned, people are making a living. They're flipping these coins that they're finding in these rolls. And, just really padding their wallets at this point. And then finally, another thing that people are doing, collectors are cherry picking local coin shops, smaller shows, bigger shows. And the idea is you're looking for these coins that the dealers really don't care too much about. It's too minor for them. Therefore, they'll just put it out, as a regular coin. And it's really up to you to cherry pick these using your magnifier and all that great stuff. All right, and then you're adding these coins into your collection, or again, you're flipping them and making some pretty good cash in the process. And then finally, another last final point before we jump into this list. The coins are not graded, because grading some of these coins is an unneeded expense. They typically sell for themselves. And PCGS, I don't know if you guys had looked at their grading fees, they charge $60, $65 for error attribution. And another thing that I've never talked about, or I've brought up on certain occasions, the turnaround time is ugly right now. It's anywhere from 90 days to as high as 6 months before you get your coin back. So, I mean, if you're looking to flip these coins, you probably just want to avoid grading altogether. All right, so as you guys know, these midweek edition PCMRs is a little bit more of abbreviated of a list. The weekend ones, I typically do 30 to 35. This one is 26 coins. Not saying that there wasn't a lot of coins to talk about, because there was a lot to talk about. I just elected to kind of keep it brief because we do drop that Saturday edition of the PCMR for you. All right, so the first coin we want to talk about here looks like something that came out of like a wheat cent bag, just based off of its overall condition. It's not the highest end coin, but someone will look at this and automatically assume that it's damaged, all right? Just based off of that anomaly that you see there. But what we have here is actually a coin that was struck through another planchet, therefore leaving an indent on the coin. I would probably say that the other planchet was a blank and not a struck coin already, because we don't see any blockage on that little anomaly there. But if you do come across these, just know that it's a possibility that that's what you have. It's a legit U.S. Mint error, and I come across these every so often. Generally they're kind of unspectacular unless they had like a early stage blockage or something to that effect, where you could see the host coin's design on that little indent. So this one right here ended up selling for $41.25 with 22 total bids. It's worth mentioning that this is a 40 AD Lincoln wheat. Typically, the indents you see on much later dates from like the 70s and 80s. So it was really cool to see this one. And guess what? It's not graded, so that's an extra added bonus. Check your proof sets, because the Eisenhower dollars, among a few other coins, have pretty neat, albeit minor, doubled dies. Now, a number of these were delisted from the cherry pickers guides, but they're still out there in theory for folks to hunt, and they still have their good old attribution numbers. Now, the seller did not put in their attribution number. I didn't bother to check because, again, it is one of the more minor doubled dies. This is a 71S Ike dollar proof. I don't really know if it's like rough shape or if this is just some sort of, I don't know. It's not the prettiest looking coin. There's a lot of spotting, which means that this coin was probably stored in an area or a climate where it was very humid, therefore reacting with the U.S. Mint cellophane. That always seemed to be a problem during the 70s and probably later 60s as well. Let's see, as far as doubling, go ahead and check things out here. It's minor. I mean, you can see the splits on the letters and the motto, "In God We Trust." As you can see it here. You can see a little bit of that splitting as well in the area between the mouth and the nose. And then finally, the eyeball right there, bottom right, exhibits very, very light splitting or doubling on there. So this is what this one looks like. And again, I see the reason why that this was delisted. It's unspectacular, but it's still worth finding in my estimation. Value-wise, this one ended up selling for $129.95. Now, a coin doesn't sell for that kind of money if it doesn't deserve to be attributed. So always look out for these. You are going to need a really good magnifier, anything like 8 to 10 times power and up. Obviously, these images looks and appears like they were photographed, like with a what do you call it? A microscope. Yeah, I can't even think today. It's a Thursday, so I'm ready for the weekend. But yeah, there you go. Look out for these and make sure you look close. All right, so this one was more of a, it's unfortunate that things like this are happening. So this is more of a PSA for you guys. It's a 95 series $1 bill. It's missing all of the green overprint on this. So it could very well be a insufficient inking error because, the black ink did print up fine on this one. But note the actual condition of the bill. All right, this is what worries me when you see things like this. It's like, okay, was this note in someone's pocket, went through the laundry, or did someone attempt to remove the green ink using bleach and various other chemicals, which, by the way, will affect all of the print, all of the ink on the note. And this just kind of has a lot of red flags for me. I'm not going to say 100% that this one is not in error, but this is all stuff that you guys need to be made aware of. This one, let's say it's not a legitimate error. It did fool a lot of people. There was 36 total bids that got this thing up to $153.98. If you do elect that you wanted to go and buy something like this to add to your collection, you always have the eBay, money back guarantee. They do protect their buyers. Just make sure you get it within that first 30 days. Or process it within your first 30 days. But always look out for this. If you have any question whatsoever, if you do find something like this, make sure you get more information from it. All right, we do have our dedicated Facebook group, Live Coin Q&A. You're free to post notes and coins and things like that. Where a bunch of people, not only myself, but everyone on our panel. There are other folks that are in the hobby that could chime in on something like this. So there are resources for you to go out. Before you sell it, make sure you get all the information necessary. All right, now speaking of information, man, now this one is really cool, but it's a very extreme form of die deterioration. So 1984p Jefferson nickel. And it's funny because I've seen quite a few of these sold within like last month or two, and they sell for decent money. So people that do know about these things, they want an example. And, there are a number of other people that have never personally held this type of dye deterioration. I mean, you can see kind of like that funny, like shelf-looking anomaly that goes along the edge and into the word liberty. It looks really crazy, like it could be like a collar clash or something like that. But this is what they call, I believe, dye attrition, dye deterioration. It's wild, and there's no other way to describe it other than the mushiness and that line that goes around the inner kind of like rim area on the obverse. So I mean, I have to tell you, this thing did sell for $25.59. I've seen various examples sell for as little as like $4 or $5. I've seen them get as high as like $50 and up. It really depends on A, the condition, and B, the overall depth of the dye deterioration on there. Because the more crazier it is, the more that actually, believe it or not, people are willing to pay for it. And no, this is not an error. It's not a variety. All right, so keep that in mind. This is just simply the dye's wearing, and it's having a hard time minting and striking these coins, as you can see. All right, so quick little market update on full rolls. So anything from 2019 and 20, it's actually a virtual gold mine because of a couple things. The West Points are huge right now. People are still looking for those. And also some of the errors. There's a lot of strike throughs and various things going on with these two particular dates of quarters. So if you have full rolls, it's probably worth selling these if you didn't want to go through them. So we have a roll of 2019 Denver Lowell National Park quarters. There's a possibility of finding the earrings, which, correct me if I'm wrong, I think they're only on Philadelphia's. So if these are all Denver, you may not find those. But you can possibly find a West Point coin. All right, so those things are still trading for like $15-20. They still have tremendous value, and that's kind of the draw here. So the two rolls, $20 face, sold for $56.90. And given this time of year, there are still a number of these floating around out there. I mean, we are only a couple years removed from this magical 2-year date where there is a lot to look for. All right, so we have a couple of these missing FG initial Kennedys on the list today. And we have a 1982P, which I would say is probably one of the more common ones. But if you're going through Kennedy half dollars or half dollar rolls in general, always pull these out. Because if you find one with the missing initials and it looks like it's missing, there might be a little remnant in there somewhere of the G, which people still end up selling these things. This one right here sold for $9.28. As you guys know, this is all a result of an abraded dye or over polishing of that area. So, I mean, that's good as silver right there. Pretty neat one here, 2007 Philly, Montana statehood quarter with this is actually a really nice sized cut die break. You can see that red arrow pointed to that area on the reverse. You also have the requisite weakness on the obverse as well, which is what you want to look for. This one ended up selling for $25.98. This is not a statehood quarter that you normally find with the CUD. Montana's, they're just not as available as, say, West Virginia's and a few of the other states. Another cool one here. Again, statehood quarter errors are very cool, and they're worth a lot more than just regular quarters. Here's a New Hampshire. Looks like to be off center by about 10%. Good looking coin. I could tell it's pretty lustrous, and I will dare say it's probably uncirculated. This one sold for $35. So this one was probably found in a mid-sewn bag back in the day, which they were still sending those out from the Federal Reserve Bank. So if you do come across them, the possibility of these type of errors popping through in those bags is still a good chance. Nothing too fancy. 1961D Lincoln Memorial cent with just a one singular right good sized curved clip on there. This one sold for $15. And a decent looking example at that. Here's a wildly off-center Lincoln Memorial. No readable date, but I think that's okay. When something's like 90-95% struck off-center, the chance that you're going to have a full date on there is really slim. But again, this is more of a shock value type of coin. And this one ended up selling for $11.75. And that's with 12 bids. So that's not too bad. Although when they become like this, with no readable date, they're not worth as much. And we also have a 2000 Lincoln Memorial cent off-center. This one's probably more 20% off-center than anything else. One of the more common dates out there, but this is a premium example. Very nice minty red. A few spots on there, but it's nothing really too crazy. $30.67 was the final sale. 23 bids got it to that amount. And one of the longtime sellers on eBay goes by the name Tropical Bats. I believe he is also on a few of the forum chat pages, like on Coin Community and Coin Talk. He sells some pretty amazing varieties, usually from this particular era of Lincolns. So we have a 1949D. This is actually a triple RPM, so it's a D over D over D. A little bit of a close-up right there for you. So we have what looks to be a D that is it's been punched northeast of the primary, and then you also have a secondary or a third D that's tilted punched. So you can see kind of like that doubled serif area right here. So there was another a rotated or tilted punch of that Denver mint mark on there. So as you guys know, prior to 1990, the mint marks were punched independently onto the working dies. All right, so there was actually some handiwork done by a mint employee to tap in the mint marks. So sometimes the little steel shaft punch will jump or bounce a little bit. Maybe they inadvertently punch it a little bit tilted, so they're trying to fix their mistake, and then they'll just punch over the existing mint mark that they had made error to. So pretty cool. I like this one. I've owned a few of these, still have one. This one, the seller did say it's about AU condition. Sold for $34 with 22 bids. And another one here by the Bats, 1934D. This is actually a cool one. I love finding these. This is the FS101 DDO. So this is double die obverse number 1. You could see the fat tail of the 9 and the 3. You could see lots of thickness on the 4 and the 1 on this one as well. This is just a marquee looking DDO. I forgot for the life of me what class doubling this is. I think it's like either 5 or 6 or somewhere around there. But this one ended up selling for $25.50 with 16 bids. The seller did mention it's an unk, kind of like brown color. And then you'll also have some of that stretched out doubling on Liberty as well. Looks good. Well, here's a nice, bright, crispy 1935D silver certificate. All right. So, looking at the front of the note, there's really nothing that draws your eye. It's just very bright and vivid. And I would say it's probably uncirculated. No mismatched serial numbers, no fancy here. But on the reverse, my goodness, we have a misaligned sheet that ended up being fed for that back print crooked. So, I mean, the front of the note, perfectly centered. Back of the note, not so much. So, yeah, this is a matter of like, hey, flip that note over, see what's on the back as well. And don't overlook anything. Sold for $280. Wow, that's a heck of a sale right there. So, well done for the seller and a great purchase by the buyer. All right, so we did have a number of Wounded Eagles Sacagawea dollars. As you guys know, this is on my top 5 list, and we have 2 of them to talk about that sold within the last 24 hours. Apparently, the word has gotten out. So Yeah, this is the FS901 Wounded or Speared Eagle. It's got the die gouges, a pair of them, as a matter of fact. You got the main one that goes through the breast feather area of Sacagawea's Reverse Eagle. And then you also have a little smaller die gouge that's complemented to it as well. Sometimes they're more, vibrant on there as far as that secondary spike, but sometimes they're just not there, especially after some circulation wear. So this one right here ended up at $83.92, exactly where the ballpark's always been for like the last X amount of years. These things are just easy money, guys. Make sure you're looking for these. Raid every Coke machine and turn over every single rock to find it. All right, so here's our other missing FG initials, and it turns out that is the more rare out of the few of them that's attributed in the Cherry Picker's Guide. 72D. Didn't we just talk about this coin here this week? This is a good one, and again, it's the virtual hot potato of the variety world. If you got them, people are paying good money for it. This one, the seller did say it's about uncirculated. I might disagree just a shade. I think it's more XF here on this one. Lots of wear all over the place. And it's not beautiful, but man, if you find it, definitely keep it or sell it. This one ended up selling for $35. Like, you can't get money more easier than that. If you're looking for that silver hunt in those Kennedy $half-dollar rolls, you might as well look for these as well, because they're worth its weight for sure. Pretty neat one here, 64D Kennedy $half-dollar, 90% silver with a pair of clips. Yeah, you can't go wrong with this baby. We got a few Blakesley effects, which is really strong on this one. Always good to see that on bigger coins. Nice little reverse toning as well. Sold for $49 with 18 bids. All right, 1990p Jefferson nickel. You can make the argument that this is either an off-center strike or a broad strike, like an uncentered one. So either way, you can't go wrong. I'd say it's more off-center because you do have some of the reverse lettering in the United States of America cut off, but just a really good-looking piece. $17.50 was the sold price on there. All right, so back for more. This seller just continues to crank out these BU DDOs from 1972. We have an FS108 or DDO number 8. Very good looking one here. Very minty red. Looks like it was found in a BU roll. Apparently he's found quite a few of these. But there you go. There's your doubling on Liberty. On the date, not too bad. But Liberty and the motto, "In God We Trust," is all of your strongest doubling. This one right here sold for $123.90. Wow, man, he's been making pretty good money on these, and they're sellable in any grade, short of being like hold and bent and everything like that. If you do come across these, always look at the motto, always look at Liberty and the date. And here's another staple in the PCMR, the good old die clashes. 2017P, again, is another good one. This is a very strong clash. Stronger on the obverse, and you still have some clashing on the reverse as well. So, check that out. Whew. Very nice. So a clash happens when there's no actual physical planchet prior to the strike in the striking chamber. So the clash, the dies, both the anvil and hammer die, make contact without that planchet in there. So it's transferring each other's image on the dies. So anytime it strikes other coins after that, it's going to show both of the design details. The clashing usually is the lighter of the two. This one ended up selling for $40.60. I mean, I'm telling you, the money's really still good on these clashes, and any clash on any coin is big money. Here's our other Wounded Eagle, Sacagawea. Please do note condition. Condition, I'm not going to say it doesn't matter, but you shouldn't feel gun shy about selling these at all, regardless if they're worn, circulated, they have gook and gunk all over the thing like this one does. I mean, it's still a beloved coin. in the variety community. So you see the same die gouges there as like the previous example. Only this one sold for $123.66. So again, the money is like out there for the taking for these. And here's our other 72 from the same seller, this time in FS102 or DDO number 2. Yeah, the doubling is way stronger on this one, especially on the date. You could see that perfectly clear. Liberty and the motto. So this one right here, because of how nice and dramatic it is, sells for more. This one ended up at $202.90 for the sale. Our last few coins are going to take down a little bit of a trip downtown. And how about the Crown Die Chip? We've seen this before, and they're making a comeback because people need the money. So you guys know the piece of the die had fallen off in just the right area, giving Mr. Washington here a little bit of a hamburger crown. And it goes into E pluribus unum. So if you find these, you don't need them, sell them. Because right now is the time for them. $61.60 with 8 bids on this one. Very nice. And of course, the Tuskegee Airmen Burning Building Strike Through, always a perennial hit. They're not $300 anymore, but yeah, you could always rely on some good cash if you need to fill up your gas tank, especially for those of you that drive, big beefy V8 truck. This one will do the trick. 2021P. So any Philly minted Tuskegee Airmen, you gotta flip those babies over to look for these. You can see the strike through event on the building on the reverse there. Again, that's all a result of some residual goop and grease with some debris and metal shavings and who knows what else that's sitting on the die. And the ones with multiple little strike throughs on the reverse there, like this one has 3 separate strike throughs, are all much better in the coin collecting universe that is eBay. So this one sold for $135 was the final sale price. So we've jumped back up over $100 for these, which is a nice look. The coin is decent looking. It's got a little bit of circulation wear, but yeah, you can always rely on this coin for a good sale. Couple more. Not the best looking images for the whole obverse and reverse. Maya Angelou, 2022P. I bet you guys know why this one's on here. Doubled earring gang. I mean, this is the VDDR number 2. There's 3 different attributed double dies that are in the Wiles files. I did not mean for it to come out that way, but VarietyVista.com is his website, and he has all 3 of them attributed on there. So this has the doubling inside the ear, all right? The outside doubling is the VDDR number 1. That one's easy to see. This one right here is the second toughest one to find. How about a $38 sale here with 14 bids? Wow. I mean, you guys need to look out for these while Maya Angelou's are still flying around out there. Because, yeah, with 3 different double dies, you're bound to find at least one, if not more. And then finally, we're going to wrap it up. Of course, I mean, the Wilma Mankiller has its grubby fingerprints all over the eBay space when it comes to coin sales. And because of the CUD errors, I mean, why would you not want to look for these? The money is so insane on them right now that they are going to be, again, they're going to be an eBay darling for the foreseeable future. And you can always rely on them, to bring back some serious returnage. So this one has the dual-sided event. You have the retained CUD on the obverse, along with a myriad of different little cracks going down Washington's face. I mean, that's probably pretty cool in itself. But this one also has that pretty long reverse crack as well. They call this a retained CUD as well. Coin's in good shape. $616.60 with 11 bids was the final sale price of this one. So if that isn't motivation enough to go out there and to continue to look for these things, I don't know what it is. What's it going to take? A $20,000 coin? Wait, yeah, don't hold me to that. Don't listen to what I just said. We're not looking for 69S DDOs out there. But how about this one? You know, it's 2022. Guess what year we're in? We're still in 2022, which means these are still out there for the finding. But that's going to go ahead and wrap it up on this one. I'm your host, Sean, with Blue Ridge Silverhound. Again, my apologies for not getting this out on Wednesday. I know a few of you were looking forward to this. But there you go. You're going to get this one and another one a day after tomorrow. So it's like a double win there. Don't forget to love, share, subscribe. Follow me on TikTok as well at Blue Ridge Silverhound. But that's going to wrap it up. You guys go out there, hunt, do me proud. And I would love to hear about all of your successes and wins. All right, go get them.